Greetings, gentlemen. One of you guys asked me my top arm wrestling lifts for beginners. What do I think are the best lifts and why are they beneficial? Sorry, I'm going to give you guys a really boring answer. I'll give you 5 seconds to guess the answer, though. My name is Devon. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My top 3 arm wrestling lifts are belt pronation, belt rise, and high cup multi-spinner. High and low cup multi-spinner. Honestly, Devon's got it figured out. Devon Larratt figured it out. His system works. If you want to be a beginner and you want to have a great start, just copy it. It's really, in my opinion, of all of the systems put out there by professional arm wrestlers, Devon's is probably the best for beginners. It's the easiest to follow, it's the simplest, it's the most concentrated, and it genuinely is effective. It's really hard to argue against it. He's shown that it's worked not just for himself, but also Auden has been very successful on a modification of his system, and you can't deny its efficacy. I myself attribute all of my arm wrestling specific development to Devon Larratt style lifting. I've only modified it slightly by adding a bit of like Todd Hutchings style side pressure and a little bit of Mendigus Terrasitis style static band work. But ultimately my foundation is still just like Devon Larratt basics. Do your singles every day, do your flushing exercises multiple times a day. Never fail your lifts, manage your intensity and weight so that you're always having to work for it, but it's still kind of easy, do tons of flushing work, get into that lactic acid burn, bring a lot of motion and blood flow into your arm. Like, I've only been arm wrestling for 3 years. I'm a very skeptical person, and I've really tried to see if I could undermine Devon Larratt's system, see if there's a better way, but I genuinely can't. I really think his way is amazing for arm wrestling specific training. My only recommendation or alteration would be that if you're a beginner or a weak nerd like me without a gym background, that you also have a full body general strength and conditioning regimen on top of your arm wrestling specific training. That's kind of what Auden has been doing. Like, if you follow Auden Larratt, Devon Larratt's son, Auden does the singles and the flushing, but he also has a little bit more full body going on. So yeah, that's my recommendation, man. If you're a new arm wrestler, go study Devon Larratt's series on like just the basic lifts for arm wrestling. Learn how to do those, the belt pronation, the belt rise, the multi-spinner stuff, the grip stuff. It's all super simple. My main recommendation though is just that, like, especially with the multi-spinner, you really have to obey that rule of never fail. It's really easy to slide into ego lifting when you're doing a singles program, because our brains associate singles with like 1 rep max, but you're not meant to be doing a 1 rep max on the Devon Larratt singles program. Like, you're meant to be doing like an 85 to 90% 1 rep max. And so finding that sweet spot is hard, because suppose you can pronate 100 pounds, the difference between your greasing the groove singles weight and your 1 rep max is only 5 pounds. It's only 5 to 10 pounds. And so getting the loading right is really tricky. It's easy to overload it and try to progress too quick. So you got to be real patient. Got to swallow your ego and embrace a slow and steady grow versus a spiky growth. But yeah, I'd like to elaborate a little more on why I think Devon Larratt's system is really wonderful. It has to do with the fact that strength is a skill, and skills are not rewarded from the same type of training that muscles are rewarded for. Muscles need rest days. Muscles can only be trained for a few, maybe an hour at most before it's completely exhausted. You have a limited amount of reps, you have a limited amount of recovery, and you have to take days off when you're training your muscles. Training your nerves, it takes a lot more to fatigue your nervous system. And so you can do a lot more reps on skill focused training, and you really want to be training your skills every day. And so the daily greasing the groove nature of the Devon Larratt singles program also makes it really optimal for skill acquisition. If you think of strength as a skill, it's the skill of doing the movement. We're not thinking about targeting muscles anymore. We're thinking about being strong in the arm wrestling specific movements. Doing those daily singles every day is actually also bleeding into the skill itself. You're training the muscles, but by doing a static lock every day, you pick up your every day. Well, then when you get on the table, you're so ready to go and take a guy's hand. You know what I'm saying? So the skill acquisition side of the Devon Larratt system is something I don't see getting talked about as much, because that's really where that system shines, and that's why that system shines. You get such a great, powerful neurological activation signal after you've been on that singles program for many months. If you wake up every day and first thing while you're still in your morning robe is you go and blast a heavy single while you're cold, and then you do that at lunch, and then you do that before bed, like your body starts to just believe that that's what it's meant to do. So not only do you change architecturally, like your muscles architecture changes to be optimized to that movement pattern, but you also get a ton of skill development along the neural pathway for that motor pattern. So neurotraining is something that's really near and dear to my heart, because I'm a tennis instructor, and tennis being a skill sport, it's all about maximizing the rate of skill acquisition to generate quality movement patterns, quality and consistent movement patterns. And so when I saw Devon Larratt is basically training like a tennis player, in the sense that he is playing every day, he's practicing his technique every single day, it made me really respect the system and embrace it. And so I think that, when you understand that skill adaptation is not about targeting the muscle so much as targeting the nerve, then it really helps you understand why the daily singles work. Because basically every time you execute a motor pattern, you're signaling to your body to adapt the nerves connected to that motor pattern better to the movement. So it's called the myelination process. You can look up myelin theory, MYELIN. Basically, the myelin sheath is the physical manifestation of skill in your body. If you are skilled in a movement, what that means is that you have more myelin sheath around the nerves correlated to that movement pattern. And what that does is effectively functions like insulation for wiring, right? You have better insulation through your wiring, then you'll lose less of the signal, and the signal will be able to just go straight through the wire, cable, whatever, as fast as it can. And so a heavily myelinated motor neuron can send a more powerful signal, so it can create a more powerful muscle activation because it'll use more of the muscle. It can activate more quickly, so you can hit that max activation within a shorter time span, so less lag, more explosiveness. Highly myelinated muscle or nerves also have a shorter refractory period, meaning the amount of time between, basically the amount of rest period required. Like if you're unskilled in a movement, you might be able to only do a true max once before those nerves need to kind of recover. That recovery period is the refractory period. Whereas when you're highly skilled, you can execute over and over and over again. So think about a tennis player hitting their max effort, serve over and over and over again. That takes a ton of myelin sheathing around the nerves to be able to tolerate that movement over and over. So that's what we want to be as arm wrestlers. We want to have not only super fucking thick and solid tendons, not only do we want to have super strong ligaments, not only do we want to have a ton of muscle that can generate a ton of force, but we also want to have nerves that are heavily conductive and insulated and specialized to our movement patterns. So that's why I believe Devon Larratt's arm wrestling training system is superior for arm wrestlers, because it maximizes the rate of skill acquisition due to the fact that you're doing reps every single day. For skill training, you don't want to take days off. It's 15 minutes a day is better than 1 hour twice a week. So follow Devon's system, develop your nerves, develop your locks, your static positions, and see yourself turn into a little arm wrestling monster. That's my recommendation for beginners. As you get more advanced, learn from Todd Hutchings. He has, I think, the best approach for intermediate and advanced arm wrestlers because his system is a little more scientific and complex, but that complexity actually makes it less ideal for newbies. Newbies just need something that they can do every day on repeat, add 1.5 pounds a day or whatever, do something simple, you know. Todd Hutchings' program takes quite a bit of discipline to follow and get the most out of it. You got to be a pretty experienced lifter. So start with Devon, advance to Todd, and maybe at some point you'll blend them both and be even better than both of them. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you are able to understand why Devon's system makes a lot of sense. If you look at it from a bodybuilding or strength, like powerlifting's perspective, it's like, I don't know, but you got to think about the skill adaptation side of things and how arm wrestling is a strength sport, which truly means that it's a skill sport. So I would like to update what everybody says. People talk about tendons. Oh, arm wrestling's a tendon sport. Nah, it's a nerve sport. Got to keep those nerves healthy. Got to train them to be powerful. Doesn't matter how big your muscle belly is or how much force output you have in theory if you don't have the neurological hardware to utilize that. So train your nerves by doing daily greasing the groove style lifting that mimics arm wrestling in the manner of Devon Larratt. Thank you very much. Good luck. Hope to see your first tournament wins. If you watch this video and you're a newbie and you haven't competed yet, it is your job when you go and make your first tournament win that you come and tell me. I want to hear about it. Thank you very much.